The Zalari Palace floated like a jewel in the sky. Its tall towers glimmered under the pale light of 2 suns. Inside, the air was calm, yet tense. Every corner of the palace whispered fear and worry. The people of the Zalari world had never faced anything like this. Their beloved Princess Leora, the daughter of the royal house, was dying. No healer, no technology, no medicine could save her. Leora lay in a tall bed in the center of the palace's healing chamber. Her skin was pale with a soft, faint glow, and her breathing came in shallow waves. The royal healers worked tirelessly, adjusting glowing instruments and whispering spells of restoration. But every attempt failed. Her mother, Queen Solara, paced back and forth, her long robe trailing over the marble floor. She was a proud woman, strong and calm in public, but inside, fear tore at her heart. "She cannot die," she said softly, almost to herself. "Not now. Not yet." The chamber doors opened suddenly, and 2 guards announced a visitor. "Captain Aidan Kane of the United Earth Expedition," they said. Their voices were crisp, but a hint of hesitation was clear. The humans were strangers, even if they had come as allies. Aidan entered slowly. He was a human man, tall and lean, with eyes that seemed to notice everything. Unlike most humans who were cautious around alien royalty, he carried no fear, only curiosity and calm. He bowed respectfully, but there was something in his expression that suggested he saw more than protocol allowed. "Queen." Solara's sharp eyes narrowed. Humans were unpredictable. They had their strengths, yes, but this was a royal chamber. Touching the princess was forbidden. Even standing too close without permission could be seen as an offense. "Captain Kane," the queen said, her voice steady. "Your timing is unusual. The princess is not receiving visitors." Aidan looked at her and nodded. "I understand, Your Majesty. I came because I could not stay away. Sometimes words and rules cannot heal what is breaking inside." His voice was gentle but firm. Queen Solara stiffened. "You speak boldly. Many here would see your presence as an insult." Aidan did not step back. Instead, he moved closer to the bed. He looked at Princess Leora. Her eyes were closed, and her chest rose and fell weakly. Something deep inside told him she needed more than medicine. She needed comfort. She needed hope. The healers tensed. "Your presence may worsen her condition," one warned. "Humans are not trained to care for Zalari patients." Aidan shook his head. "Sometimes the rules that bind us prevent what we need most." "Let me try." He extended his hand slowly. Queen Solara gasped. He paused for a heartbeat, and the entire chamber held its breath. No one dared move. Then, with quiet certainty, he touched her hand. Leora's fingers were cold, almost weightless. The room went silent. For a moment, nothing happened. Then, a faint warmth began to spread from her hand through her arm. Her eyes fluttered open. She looked at him, confused and weak, but alive. The warmth in her chest made her feel something she had not felt in days: relief. Her lips moved slightly. "Who are you?" "I am Captain Aidan Kane," he said softly. "I am here to help." The healers gasped. The royal family froze. No human had ever dared touch a Zalari princess, let alone one in her state. It was unthinkable. Queen Solara's voice trembled, a mix of anger and shock. This is impossible. How can you touch?" Aidan did not answer with words. He simply stayed by Leora's side, his hand still on hers. Slowly, the glow in her skin strengthened. Her breathing became steadier. She opened her eyes fully and looked at the human in front of her. For the first time in weeks, she smiled, though weakly. "This warmth," she whispered. I feel it." The chamber was filled with a strange silence. No healer could explain it. No machine could measure it. A human, a mere outsider, had done what they could not. The queen stepped forward, her regal composure returning, though her eyes were wary. "You must leave," she said. "It is not proper for you to interfere further." Aidan shook his head. "I will not leave while she needs me. Not when I can help." The royal advisors whispered furiously among themselves. Some were horrified. Others were curious. But all felt a strange, pulsing thing about this human was different. Princess Leora tried to sit up, weak but determined. "Please," she said softly. He saved me. I feel stronger." Queen Solara looked at her daughter, torn. The rules of their people were clear. No outsider should touch royalty. Yet her daughter's life had been restored, at least in part, by that very outsider. The human's presence was a shock to them all. It challenged everything the royal family believed about humans, about their own rituals, and about the limits of life and death. Aiden withdrew his hand slightly, but stayed close. "You are stronger than you know, Princess," he said. "I only helped you see it. Your body, your spirit. They want to fight. Let them." The princess smiled faintly, a mix of gratitude and wonder. She had never met a being like this before. His touch, his calm voice, and his belief in her strength had made her feel alive again. For the first time in weeks, hope returned to her heart. The chamber doors opened again, and more palace guards entered. They had heard the whispers, seen the change. Even they could not deny it. A human had done the impossible. Queen Solara's voice was firm now. "This human is dangerous, yet he has done what none of us could. We must. Watch carefully." Aiden nodded. "I only wish to help, Your Majesty. Nothing more." The healers began their work again, but now with a strange sense of relief. Leora's condition was improving, and her energy was returning. The warmth from Aiden's touch seemed to linger, and even the machines registered changes beyond explanation. The princess spoke again, her voice stronger. "Captain Kane." "Thank you," the human bowed slightly. "No thanks are needed. You have the strength. I only helped you find it." The royal family watched in silence. They were amazed, fearful, and confused. A human had touched the dying princess, and she had survived. Their traditions, their rules, and their beliefs about outsiders were challenged in a single, quiet moment. Outside the chamber, whispers spread through the palace like wildfire. The human touched her. Impossible. She is alive. Because of him? Even the rival nobles who had quietly hoped the princess would not survive in their plans to control the throne paused. They could not deny what had happened. A human, with nothing but courage and care, had altered the course of history in their world. Princess Leora looked at him, her eyes shining. I feel hope. I feel life." Aiden smiled softly. "You should. You are stronger than any rule, any tradition, and this strength is yours always." The palace remained silent, still shocked. The human had done what none could do. And this was only the beginning. The story of Captain Aiden Kane and Princess Leora would soon spread across the Zalari world, shaking traditions and inspiring awe. But for now, in the quiet healing chamber, a dying princess had been touched by the courage and compassion of a human, and for the first time, she felt truly alive. The palace corridors of the Zalari were quiet, but the tension was thick. News of the human who had touched the dying princess spread quickly. Every corner, every guard, and every advisor whispered about the impossible act. Some feared him, some admired him, and some plotted quietly, unsure what to make of this stranger who had changed the fate of Princess Leora. Aiden Kane walked through the halls with calm confidence. He had been allowed to stay near Leora after her recovery began. The healers, though suspicious at first, now watched him with cautious curiosity. There was something different about humans, they realized. Something unmeasurable. Something alive. Princess Leora was sitting up in her bed when he entered the chamber that morning. Her hair, usually dull and lifeless, had begun to shine faintly under the room's soft lights. Her cheeks, once pale, now carried a gentle glow. She turned to him, her eyes bright with a mixture of curiosity and newfound energy. "You came early," she said softly. "I wanted to see how you are today," Aiden replied, smiling. "You're improving faster than expected." Leora sat quietly for a moment, as if testing her own strength. It feels strange. I feel energy I haven't felt in weeks. But will it last? Aiden shook his head gently. The energy was always inside you. I only helped it awaken. Now it's yours to hold and grow. The princess leaned back, amazed. She had been surrounded by technology, medicine, and the best healers of her world, and none had been able to restore her like this. A human had. And the idea was both confusing and exciting. Meanwhile, outside the healing chamber, whispers and secret meetings were happening. The royal advisors were divided. Some praised Aiden quietly, seeing the benefits of his presence. Others, however, feared the influence of a human on the princess. It was unheard of for an outsider to have this kind of power. One noble, Lord Varric, paced his private chamber with anger. "This human is dangerous," he muttered. "He breaks rules, ignores tradition, and now he heals our princess. Who knows what he wants in return?" His assistant hesitated. "But Lord Varric, the princess is alive. She is recovering. Surely that proves his value." Varric's eyes narrowed. Value or threat? Humans are unpredictable. One day they follow, the next they dominate. We cannot allow him to grow close to Leora, not while she is weak. Back in the healing chamber, Aiden spent hours with Leora, showing her simple exercises to regain strength. It was not complex technology, not a secret medicine. It's just his knowledge of human care and encouragement. "Lift your hand slowly," he said, guiding her arm. "Feel your strength in it." The body remembers energy, even when it forgets itself. Leora obeyed, her hand trembling but steadying with each movement. "I can feel it," she said, smiling. "It's amazing. You've always had it," Aiden said. "I'll just help you see it," the healers observed silently. Machines measured vital signs, but they could not measure the courage and confidence that now pulsed in Leora's chest. The palace had never seen anything like this. The princess, once weak and fragile, was now standing tall with the guidance of a human. Word of her improvement reached the queen. Queen Solera's face was calm, but her mind raced. A human, an outsider, had become essential to her daughter's recovery. This was against every law, every custom, yet the results were undeniable. She decided to watch closely. "If he is truly trustworthy, we must understand him," she told her advisors. "But one misstep, and he leaves this palace." Days passed. Leora grew stronger. She began walking slowly around the chamber with Aiden's support. The bond between them deepened, not through words, but through trust and shared experience. The princess learned about humans, about their ways, their courage, and their compassion. In return, she shared the secrets of Zellery culture, their rituals, and their fears, but not everyone was pleased. Lord Varric and his followers began plotting. They could not accept that a human had gained such influence. One night they gathered in secret. "This human must be removed," Varric said firmly. "He defies our laws, he challenges our traditions, and he grows close to the princess. If we do not act, the throne itself could be at risk." His advisors nodded. "How do we act without dishonoring the queen?" one asked. Varric smiled faintly. "We wait. We watch. And when the moment comes, we strike. The princess is still recovering. She cannot resist, if we plan carefully." Meanwhile, in the healing chamber, Aiden noticed Leora's spirit brightening. She laughed lightly for the first time in weeks, a sound that made even the healers smile. "Your laughter is powerful," Aiden said. "It strengthens the body just as much as anything else." Leora looked at him. "It feels strange to feel joy after so much pain, but it is real." "Yes," Aiden said softly. "Humans and Zellari alike need hope to survive, and hope comes from courage, care, and connection." The days that followed were filled with small victories. Leora learned to walk on her own, to speak clearly, to eat, and regain her strength. Each success amazed the royal family. They could not deny the human's influence, yet tension grew. Varric's plotting continued in the shadows. He watched every interaction between Aiden and the princess, noting every smile, every touch, every word. To him, it was a threat that could not be ignored. One evening, Leora approached the Queen. "Mother," she said softly, "I want Captain Kane to stay. He saved me. I trust him." Queen Solara hesitated. She knew the rules, the dangers, and the consequences. But she could not ignore the truth. The princess was alive, thriving, and happy. And it was because of a human's courage and care. "I will allow it," the Queen said carefully. "But we watch him closely. One mistake, and he leaves." Leora smiled, her eyes shining. "Thank you, Mother. You will not regret this." As the night fell, Aiden sat beside the princess, looking at the stars visible through the palace's transparent ceiling. "You will be strong again," he said. "Stronger than you know. And one day, your people will see what I see. Your strength, your courage, your heart." Leora nodded. I hope so. I want to show them, but some may not understand," Aiden said confidently. "Humans have faced fear, doubt, and impossible odds. We know that courage can inspire even the hardest hearts." Suddenly, a faint sound echoed in the palace halls. A shadow moved swiftly, unseen. Lord Varric had begun his plan. He would strike soon, but he did not yet know that the princess had grown stronger, and that the human's courage was more than just simple bravery. It was an inspiration. The palace, once filled with fear and worry, now held a quiet energy. Leora was no longer weak. Her spirit had returned, and with Aiden Kane by her side, the impossible seemed possible. The royal family, still in awe and partly in fear, watched closely. The story of the human and the princess was only beginning. Their bond, born of care and courage, would challenge traditions, inspire hope, and change the palace forever. Aiden touched her hand gently, a silent promise. "Together, we face what comes next," he said. Leora squeezed his hand. "Yes, together." Outside, shadows moved and plans formed, but inside the healing chamber, hope burned brightly. The human had defied every expectation, challenged every rule, and restored life where none seemed possible. And the world would soon see that courage, care, and empathy, simple human qualities, could change destinies. The Zalari Palace was alive with whispers, tension, and anticipation. Word of Princess Leora's recovery spread through the halls like wildfire. Courtiers, advisors, and even distant nobles had heard the story of the human who had touched her and saved her life. Some admired him secretly. Others were still suspicious. But one fact could not be denied. The princess was alive and thriving. Princess Leora sat in her private chamber, looking out at the twin suns setting over the palace towers. Her strength had returned more than anyone had expected. She walked with confidence, spoke clearly, and even laughed freely. For the first time in weeks, she felt truly alive. Beside her, Captain Aiden Kane remained quietly supportive, always observing, always encouraging. "You have changed everything," Leora said softly, turning to him. "Not just for me, for the palace. For my people," Aiden smiled. "No, princess, you changed yourself. I only helped you see it." Her smile lingered, a mixture of gratitude and admiration. The princess had never met a being like Aiden before. Humans were different from the Zellariles, bound by rules, more guided by compassion and courage. She had never imagined someone like him could exist, let alone be part of her life. But the palace was not without its dangers. Lord Varric, the rival noble, had been quietly gathering allies. His jealousy and fear of the human's influence had grown into anger. He had watched every step, every conversation, every smile between Aiden and Leora, and it had festered into a plan. Tonight he intended to act. The royal court had gathered in the great ceremonial hall for an evening audience. The walls shimmered with soft energy fields, and the floor reflected the twin suns' fading light. Courtiers and nobles stood in silence, their eyes fixed on the princess. Leora entered the hall with Aiden by her side. She was radiant, her confidence shining. The crowd whispered again, noting her strength, her poise, and the unusual presence of a human walking beside her. For many, it was shocking. For others, it was inspiring. Lord Varric stepped forward, his expression cold and deliberate. "Your Majesty," he said to Queen Solara, "this human has overstepped all bounds. He has influenced the princess, interfered in our traditions, and defied the laws of our people. Such behavior cannot go unchallenged." The Queen's eyes narrowed. She had expected some opposition, but Varric's boldness was striking. "And what do you propose, Lord Varric?" she asked calmly. "To remove him," Varric said firmly. "For the good of the palace, for the preservation of tradition, for the security of the throne." A tense silence filled the hall. Some nobles nodded in agreement, while others frowned. It was a dangerous moment. The princess's life had been saved by this human, yet now the rules and fears of the palace demanded his removal. Leora stepped forward. "Mother," she said, her voice steady, "this human saved my life. He showed me strength, hope, and courage. He has done nothing but care for me, nothing but help me recover. To punish him would be wrong," the court gasped. The princess had spoken against tradition, directly challenging the rival faction. Varric's eyes flashed with anger. "Your Highness, you must not allow yourself to be swayed by outsiders." "I am my own person," Leora said firmly. "And I choose to stand by someone who helped me when everyone else could not. Captain Kane is not a threat. He is a friend, a protector, and a teacher. I trust him, and that trust is not a crime." The hall was silent. The words of a recovering princess, once weak and fragile, carried a weight that no law or tradition could dismiss. Even the Queen felt a surge of pride. Her daughter had grown strong, guided not only by her own courage but also by the empathy and strength of a human. Aiden stood beside Leora calmly. He did not raise his voice, did not challenge the court. Instead, he let the princess speak. His presence alone was enough. His calm confidence, his respect for Leora's choices, and his quiet bravery spoke louder than any words could. Varric's face turned red with frustration. "This is nonsense," he shouted. "You have no idea what dangers this human brings. He is an outsider, a creature we cannot trust." The Queen raised her hand, silencing the court. "Enough," she said firmly. "Captain Kane has proven his worth. He has healed my daughter, restored her life, and acted with honor at every step. If anyone here wishes to challenge that, you will answer to me," Varric faltered, realizing that the Queen's support was unwavering. He turned slightly to his allies, who now looked uncertain. Some had begun to admire the human quietly. Some had seen Leora's strength return and knew that her recovery was real and undeniable. The princess took a deep breath and addressed the hall. "Look at me," she said, holding up her hands. "I was dying. Every healer, every machine, every ritual failed. And yet, I am alive. I am standing. I am myself again. And it was not technology. It was not magic. It was a human's courage, care, and belief in life itself." Murmurs spread through the crowd. No one had ever heard such words in the royal court. The young princess had spoken truth and power. Challenging fear and tradition with undeniable evidence, she was alive because of humanity. Aiden bowed slightly. "Your Highness, your strength is your own. I only helped you see it." Leora smiled, "And I will never forget it. Your courage has changed my life, and perhaps it will change the palace too." Varric's fists clenched. He realized that any attempt to remove Aiden now would backfire. The princess was no longer weak, no longer fragile, and the court had witnessed her growth. Her trust in a human had become a symbol of courage and strength. The Queen stepped forward. "Captain Kane will remain in this palace under my protection," she announced, "and any attempt to harm him will be considered treason." Varric's allies looked at each other, unsure. Their plots and fears had crumbled before the undeniable truth of human courage and Leora's recovery. One by one, their confidence waned. Outside the ceremonial hall, servants and guards whispered, "The human." "He stayed," one said. "And the princess." she stands stronger than ever. In the chamber, Leora turned to Aiden. You did this? Not by force, not by power, but by being human. By caring, by believing, by showing courage. Aiden smiled softly. Sometimes the simplest acts make the greatest difference. Courage, empathy, and care. These are things that can change even the most rigid traditions. Leora nodded. Then perhaps the world will see it. Perhaps. Humans are not just visitors to our galaxy. Perhaps they can teach us strength we never knew we had. Days passed and life in the palace began to change. Leora's recovery became a symbol of hope, courage, and the power of human qualities. The court slowly adapted, learning that strength did not always come from rules, rituals, or technology alone. Sometimes it came from heart, from compassion, and from bravery. Even the rival faction began to shift. They could not deny the truth they had seen. A human had restored life, courage, and hope where none existed. The lessons of empathy and strength could not be erased. One morning, the princess walked through the palace gardens with Aiden. Flowers of strange colors glowed softly in the twin sun's light. Birds with crystal-like wings flew overhead. The palace seemed alive, not only with nature, but with possibility. Look at this, Leora said, gesturing to the gardens. Life is beautiful, and so much stronger than we ever imagined. Aiden nodded. Yes, and you, princess, are the proof. Courage, trust, and care. These things endure, even in the hardest times. She looked at him with a smile. I never thought a human could teach me so much. And yet, you have, I feel, stronger than ever. And not just my body. My mind, my spirit, everything. Aiden placed a hand on hers, gently. You had it all along. I only helped you remember it. That is what humans do. We help each other find strength when it seems lost. The palace had learned the same lesson. Humanity in its simplest form had changed the Zellery royal family forever. It had proven that courage, compassion, and empathy could break traditions, inspire hope, and heal even the most desperate situations. Princess Leora turned to the horizon. Perhaps this is only the beginning. Humans and Zellery. Together, we can face anything. Aiden smiled. Yes, together anything is possible. For the first time in many weeks, the Zellery palace was filled not with fear, not with whispers of doubt, but with hope, courage. And the quiet strength of a human who had dared to touch a dying princess' hand changed everything.